Hardgainers, natural bodybuilding, nutrition, recovery, weight management, skin health, hormones, biohacking. Welcome to the Joshua Lappin Fitness Podcast. Hi, and welcome back to the Joshua Lappin Fitness Podcast. This is episode number 2, second podcast episode. I'm glad we made it through the first one. Hope you found it exciting and insightful. The purpose of the first podcast was just to kind of introduce what we want to do with the podcast and the website in general. So we go in depth with that. Definitely recommend you go back and listen to that. And in today's episode, though, we're going to dive a little bit into my background and kind of my journey to add muscle mass and to gain strength. And at the conclusion of that, I'm going to share with you my workout program that was born out of all of this struggle, research, and trial and error. Don't remember if I kind of introduced this in the first podcast, but at the time of this recording, I am 38 years old. I'm married. I've got 2 kids, and I work a full-time job. So as of this point, this is kind of a side business for me. And the reason I tell you that is it all plays into the story. I don't want you to think that I'm some guy out here who has abundant amounts of time to invest into figuring this stuff out. No, not really. It's taken me many, many years and lots of trial and error. In fact, I've been on this journey for over 26 years. So this story really starts around when I was about 12 years old. Somehow during that time, I discovered the world of bodybuilding, weightlifting, powerlifting, all those kinds of activities, and it really appealed to me. Perhaps because at that time I was really tall and skinny, so I was looking for ways to kind of put on some size, put on some strength. I just didn't want to be a kind of a tall stick guy. So this was right around when I was at the beginning of middle school, and like I said, this is 26 years ago. I don't remember exactly how this occurred. It may be that my parents had already had some of this stuff, but somehow I came in contact with a little cheap weight bench, one of those standard weight benches, not an Olympic one, the standard one where the little racks are really narrow, and some cement weights. So through the process of time, I kind of cobbled together a really weird setup. I just had a bench and like the cement weights. So you can still get the cement weights today. I think you can get them like Walmart, like I said, them for $50. They're super cheap and they will crack if you drop them, quite honestly, because there's concrete inside of them. But if that's something that, if that's what you can afford to get started with, but by all means do that. There are ways to get a good workout with those. You got to start where you're at. So it's not a shameful thing at all. Well, this little weight set and weight bench were kind of on my back porch. And after school, I would just go out there and do the best that I could. I didn't really know many exercises. At the time, I would just do some bench presses and some bicep curls. That's about all I knew. I didn't know anything else. I also kind of came in contact with, you go to the store and you would see the muscle magazines sitting there on the rack. You go to the bookstore, they'd be out there too. And it kind of made me want to become a professional bodybuilder and someone who worked out with a lot of weights. So, I just continued to cobble together various old weights that I could come up with and find. And over time, I kind of slowly built up a pretty nice gym. At the place where we were living at the time, basically from kind of middle school through high school and even into early college, my parents lived in the country, and we had this really huge kind of workshop building in the back. That thing probably had to be like 30 by 50. It was pretty large. Concrete, made the perfect gym. And, before I left my parents' house, I had a full, really, really nice gym, home gym, a squat rack, a bench, calf raise machine, 2 benches. I think I even had, leg extension machine and some dumbbells too. And when my parents moved, they actually gave away half of that stuff, which was pretty annoying because I would have liked to get it back, but hey, it is what it is now. So, but at this point, what I would do, like I said, I would be out there trying to work out. Like Friday nights would kind of consist of me going to like a discount bookstore around town and just picking up any book or magazine I could about the subject of weightlifting and bodybuilding. This was around the early 90s, and at that time, kind of the superstars in the bodybuilding world were people like Dorian Yates, Sean Ray, Ronnie Coleman, Kevin Larone, Chris Cormier. All those guys were kind of my heroes. And, I had my whole bedroom was lined up with posters of these guys doing competitions and stuff and just showing off their amazing physiques. So the story kind of progresses. Sad to say, it didn't progress well. And we were just being honest here. I really spent years getting no results, very minimal results. Felt pretty weak in the gym, and it was overall a really frustrating experience. So, like I said, I tried many different routines from all these books, all kinds of crazy stuff even. Like a super slow technique where you basically lower the weight down as pretty much as slow as you can. I think they called for a protocol of 5 seconds up and 5 seconds down. So pretty slow. There were other techniques as well. Pretty minimal results, pretty slow. Pretty frustrating, to tell you the truth. And, this carried on until I was in the beginning of my 30s. So it hasn't been that long since I made kind of a breakthrough. But at that point, I had never been able to weigh really over 175 pounds. I never benched over 155, never attempted even to squat over 85 pounds. My overhead press was around 85 pounds, and I had never even attempted to do a deadlift in my life. So overall, it's kind of a pretty sad career as far as weightlifting and bodybuilding is concerned. But one thing I'll tell you is I never gave up. And after many years of frustration, trial and error, trying different techniques, I made a series of very important discoveries that really started leading me to my breakthrough. The first one was the fact that I had to come to the realization that I was of a certain body type. And what that means is in sports science and in kind of the weightlifting world, bodybuilding world, you get kind of classified into 3 different categories. Those categories are the Mesomorph, Endomorph, and Ectomorph. Now, the Mesomorph is a naturally muscular person. There's the folks who, no matter what they do, no matter how bad of a lifestyle they live outside of the gym, they will just add muscle regardless. So, for example, I've got a neighbor who is pretty well developed, and the guy eats McDonald's regularly, for lunch and breakfast and dinner. Not saying he eats them all on the same day like that, but they don't eat a very good diet. Not clean at all. And not even sure if he takes supplements. Anyway, those are the kind of people who are the mesomorphs. The guys, and you can really start telling these folks in high school. They're the ones who get into the gym and they're 16 years old and they're already benching 300 pounds. So those are the mesomorphs, the natural athletic types. The second body type is the endomorph. Now, the endomorph can put on muscles relatively well as well, but they can also put on body fat very well too. So these tend to be the kind of naturally heavy set people, maybe what you would call the big boned people. Not necessarily fat, but they can also be prone to getting fat as well. It's just the way their body is built. And then the third type of person is the ectomorph. And the ectomorph is usually a person on the skinnier side. They have a fast metabolism and they have trouble gaining weight, specifically muscle weight. So I had to come to the realization of the fact that I was an ectomorph for the most part. Now, I'm sure there's variations and shades where these things kind of overlap, but when I kind of accepted the fact that I was an ectomorph, that's when my transformation really started to take place. So I had to come to that realization. And the reason why that is important is this. The different types of body types require different types of trainings. So that's going to be a fundamental concept here. You got to know, first of all, what kind of body you have. And then second of all, you're going to have to know how to train that body properly. So again, as I was saying, I had tried so many different programs, doing all kinds of things, drop sets, pyramids, force reps. I've done several of the Beachbody programs, and I won't say that I didn't get any results out of those, but I didn't get the results that I really wanted, and most of it just really burned me out and just made me exceptionally tired, and eventually I kind of gave up on the workout. So again, I was not a quitter. I'm not a quitter even today, so I continue to try different things. And finally, in my early 30s, I ran across a program that really worked for me. Now, some of you, when you hear this, you may be like, well, duh, you should have known that from the beginning, but hey, you got to work with what you got. So what happened was I discovered 5x5. So 5x5 is a concept where you lift you can do it a couple of ways. I guess you could pyramid the weights, which means you start with a lighter weight and you continue to work up. But the 5x5 that I was using that worked for me is you just lift one standard weight. So for example, if you're bench pressing 100 pounds, I would do 5 sets for 5 reps of 100 pounds. So pretty simple. And I would only do in this workout routine 5 exercises. Another reason why the number 5 is very important. I would do squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, and barbell rows. I would do the exercise routine 3 times a week. It was an A and B routine, which means I did one routine one day and then had a different routine the other day. But I would only work out 3 times a week, and the rest of the time I had off. So it sounds pretty simple, and it is. And that's where the beauty of it is. You see, as an ectomorph, you need really simple, basic routines that really hit the major muscle groups hard using compound exercises. That's going to be your fundamentals right there. That's where you're going to discover most of your body weight gains and strength gains. So we'll get into the details a little bit more as we go through the show here. But what happened was, after about 6 months of doing this routine, I found that I had gained over 15 pounds. I won't say it's all muscle, but it was definitely significantly muscle mass. There probably was some fat in there too, but it was mostly muscle. And I was getting a whole lot stronger. So after this time of 6 months on this routine, I was able to get my bench press over 200 pounds. I was able to get my squats over 250 pounds, my military press up to 135 pounds, and my deadlifts up to 275 pounds. Now, I'm sure some of you are out there saying, hey, that doesn't sound very impressive. But for me, it was at the time, because that was the best weights I had ever done in my life. And since then, I've gone on to do a lot more. For example, well, I'll just tell you this. I do this routine. I cycle back to this routine every year. So my current training protocol, and kind of what works best for me now, is fall and winter, I'm doing 5x5 and not necessarily worried about being as cut and as fit during that time, because it's winter, you're inside all the time. You're wearing, clothes, pants, and jackets all the time. So, nobody's going to see you very much. So that's the time I do my strength training. So I always come back to this routine during the fall and kind of winter. Now, spring and summer, I switched to a different routine, which I'll tell you about in a different show, that is designed more for toning, shaping, and cutting, and what I would call maybe like light bodybuilding. But the point of it is this: every time that I cycle back through this program, I try to add a little bit more onto my exercises. Now this year, I set some new PRs. I was able to get over 225 on the bench. Squats are up to 275, military press up to 150 pounds, and deadlifts right at the 300-pound mark. Again, I know some of you can lift more than that, but for a guy who has never cracked 185, I'm pretty excited about it, to tell you the truth. Now, one of our focuses of the show is to help hardgainers, which is another term for the ectomorph person, the person who is naturally skinny, higher metabolism, has trouble putting on body weight, specifically muscle weight. What I've done is I've taken all the knowledge that I've learned over the past 20 years, all the frustration, and I've developed a program that works very well for the Hardgainer. Now, it is based on the 5x5 principles, which we'll talk about a little bit here. And it incorporates other principles which are just as important for the success of the Hardgainer, which are proper rest and proper nutrition. What we cover here today on the podcast will also be available on the website. So if you have additional questions, or if you want to go and look up something a little bit more in depth, you can visit us at joshualappinfitness.com, all lowercase, no spaces. What happened was I developed a very important exercise routine and program called the Skinny to Strong workout. And this is where I share all my knowledge and insight of how to successfully gain weight and gain strength for hardgainers. However, the program is not limited to hardgainers. I believe it will work for every body type. Now let's dig into kind of the program a little bit more and kind of why it works. The reason 5x5 works so well for anyone adding or wanting to add muscle, strength, and size, well, number one is because of the simplicity. Number two is we're using big compound exercises, squats, benches, deadlifts, rows, and overhead presses. We are keeping the reps really low. Reps are very important in your exercise program because they kind of signify what you're trying to do to your body. If you're in like the 1 to 3 rep range, you're primarily training for strength. If you're in the 5 to 8 rep range, you're primarily training for size with a side benefit of strength. If you're in the 8 to 12 range category, you're kind of that's kind of the bodybuilding range. And anything over 15 reps, you're in kind of a cutting, toning kind of range for what you're trying to do with your body. So 5x5 really combines two really important principles. When you do 5x5 routines, you're basically going for 50% size and 50% strength. So it's a great combination and a great thing to do. The 5 exercises are, it's very simple, and the 5 sets are very simple as well. The purpose of the 5 sets is to keep fatigue levels down. Is to get you into the gym, get done what you're trying to do, and get out of there. Quite honestly, these routines should last no more than 45 minutes to an hour, and then you're out. And like I say, you're doing this 3 times a week. I mean, you're looking at a total of 3 times a week, 3 hours in the gym a week, and you're getting amazing gains. I also recommend that you try this routine for at least 6 months. Some people can get really good results in 3 months, but I think 6 months is a better indicator. The second key principle of our Skinny to Strong program is proper rest. Rest for the Hardgainer is actually more important than the training itself. So for Hardgainers, another curse that we face with our genetic type is our recovery system. Our recovery system tends to be very fragile, and you can basically what they call overtrain very easily. Overtraining is when you train too hard and your body basically can't recover from the workouts. So if it can't recover, that means you're not going to grow and you're not going to get stronger, because when you lift weights, that is actually stimulating the muscle to grow. However, the growth actually takes place during your rest time and sleep time and recovery time. That's when the body is repairing and recovering and trying to get stronger and adapt to kind of what you did to it during the workout. Rest is super critical, and that's why this program is so successful. Number 1, you're keeping your reps low, you're keeping your sets low. First line of defense in overtraining. Number 2, you're only working out 3 times a week, so you've got 4 other days of rest built into the system. So it's really looking at maximizing your recovery. Of course, I do recommend that you be very cognizant of things like sleeping. If you can during the day, get a nap. That's great too. Also, if gaining body weight and strength is something that's important to you, I highly suggest that you limit your cardio severely and not even do it at all if that's something that is okay with you. Like I said, you have to put all your energy into the program, and anytime that you're not in the gym doing this program, you need to be resting as much as possible. The third concept for the Skinny to Strong program is nutrition. It's also an extremely vital component. Nutrition is the food that you give your muscles. And if you're not giving your muscles the proper food, again, it's going to be very hard for them to grow. The fundamental nutrient and the building block that our body uses to grow muscle is protein. For the most part, protein is going to come from animal-based sources. There is some debate that you can build muscle on a vegan or vegetarian diet. However, they do have to try harder, and usually they have to take specific supplements to be able to get that to take place. For the most part, I recommend animal protein for weightlifting and building size. And you're going to find that the majority of people who create really great physiques and gain a lot of size and strength have those kind of animal proteins in their diet. Now, there's also a lot of debate over how much protein you should eat. There's people who say that you can get down as low as 0.8 grams per body weight, and there's some people I've heard go all the way up to 2 grams per body weight. So basically, just for easy numbers, if you weigh 100 pounds, if you're on the 0.8 end of the scale, that means you would eat 80 grams of protein per day. Now, if you eat 1 gram of protein per your body weight, if you weigh 100 pounds, you would eat 100 grams of protein. And if you go up to the 2 grams of protein per body weight, if you still weigh 100 pounds, you eat 200 grams of protein. Now, me personally, I like to go somewhere in the middle. So I like to keep it easy. I just basically say eat 1 gram of protein per body weight. So, if you weigh 150 pounds, eat 150 grams of protein. I also recommend that you eat 4 to 6 times a day. It's much easier on your digestion system, especially when you're eating high protein, to break the meals up into smaller portions instead of trying to eat even 3 times a day. And so basically what you want to do is take your protein requirements and divide it by either 5 or 6. Let's say if you're 180 pounds, you need to eat 180 grams of protein per day. So you would basically eat 30 grams of protein 6 times a day, generally eating every 2 to 3 hours throughout your day. And that would give you your 180 grams. Now, me personally, I also like to be spending conscious, and I don't want to spend more than I have to. This kind of diet can become a little more expensive, but that's just the reality of what is happening here. If you want to have this kind of stronger, more muscular body, you're going to have to feed it, and you're going to have to feed it a lot, and that's going to cost you. So you need to be aware of that up front. However, if you eat a good diet of, fresh chicken, eggs, fish, ground beef, steak, milk, and peanut butter, and protein shakes, you can limit your cost a bit, especially if you buy in bulk. So if you have something like a Sam's Club or a Costco in your area, definitely join up one of those clubs so that you can get some of those savings through buying bulk. Another thing that's important for this type of training and the Skinny to Strong program is carbs. So this is not a low carb program. You're going to have to eat carbs because they are the fuel that helps you to grow your muscles and gives you energy. So if you're looking to get cut and lose weight, this is not the program for you. So carbs, on the other hand, are a bit different. Depending on how much you weigh, kind of depends on where I would recommend your carbs go. I would start at a minimum, again, of at least 1 gram per body weight. So if you weigh 180 pounds, I would say eat 180 grams of protein. I've heard some people say that this is kind of another rule of thumb, if you want to try this, that you should eat at least 200 grams of protein and 200 grams of carbs per day. Now that sounds pretty intense to me, but if you're not getting the gains that you want, maybe it's something you want to try out. Anyway, the point is you need to eat carbs on this program if you want to gain size and strength. Now, carbs are cheap. Got no problem with that. I would recommend potatoes, rice, beans, whole grain pastas, whole grain breads, fruits and vegetables. Those counts as carbs too. So don't forget those in your diet because you need the support of the vitamins and micronutrients. So there is kind of the main concepts of the Skinny to Strong program. Proper training, a 5x5 routine with 5 major exercises: squats, bench press, deadlifts, overhead rests, and barbell rows. You're going to do 5 sets of 5 reps. You're going to work out 3 times a week. Also, too, I don't think I mentioned yet, but you're going to lift the same weight throughout each exercise. So if on one particular workout you start with 100 pounds for bench press, you're going to bench press 100 pounds for 5 sets and 5 reps. However, if you get those 5 sets and 5 reps on the next workout, the next time you do this workout, you're going to add 5 pounds to the bar. And what happens is you continue to add 5 pounds to the bar for as long as you can until you hit your max. Now, when you hit your max, there's some specific things that you can do to help you get past that max, which are outlined in more detail in the Skinny to Strong program. But that's kind of the basic concept. Also, as well, we're following an A-B pattern, which means we do like a workout A and a workout B. Workout A would consist of squats, overhead press, and deadlifts. Workout B would consist of squats, bench press, and rows. As you can see, you're going to squat a lot. The squat is the king of strength building and muscle building. It is very nearly an entire body workout, even though your legs get hit the hardest. So you're going to squat every workout, and you're going to get sick of squats by the time you're done with this routine, but you will get stronger and bigger. So you just can keep doing that. And like I said, there are some other tricks and techniques that you can do to help you get past plateaus once you do that. And of course, make sure you're getting your proper rest and getting your proper nutrition. And that really is the fundamentals of the Skinny to Strong program. There are a few tricks of the trade that are contained in there as well, which we don't have time to get into today because we're kind of running out of time here on the podcast, but they are contained within the Skinny to Strong program. Now, I've outlined the program for you here today, and you're welcome to try it. I think I've given you enough information for you to get started, and I highly recommend you that you do that. However, if you do feel like you need some additional coaching and additional help, we do have the Skinny to Strong program on our website. We've got 2 variations. Variation number 1 is just a straight video course. In the course, you just go in there and you purchase the course, and you will basically get the entire routine laid out for you exactly. There's 50 workouts, 50 guided workouts that will basically carry you rep by rep, set by set through 3 months basically worth of workouts and tell you exactly what you need to do for every single one of them. So a lot of people like that option. Option 2, if you still feel like you need even more additional help and you want to get one-on-one attention, we also have a coaching program as well. The coaching program, you will also get access to the 50 videos. However, I will be available to answer your questions through email, and at least once a month, we'll be able to get on a call together and kind of go through any kind of problems you may be having. Skinny to Strong is a highly recommended program definitely for hard gainers, but for anybody who's looking to put on size and strength. It's been well researched, it works really well, and it's based on a lot of very fundamental key principles dealing with the body, nutrition, and how the body works. So I definitely recommend that you check it out. We will have other programs that we're going to be developing. Right now, I'm in the pre-production stages of another workout program that'll be coming up in the next couple months. So I hope this episode has been beneficial to you. I hope it's been eye-opening to you. I hope you learned some things. And especially if you're in the ectomorph body type, I hope that it's giving you some hope and some direction on where you can go. So again, my name is Joshua Lappin, and I am with JoshuaLappinFitness.com. That's JOSHUALAPPIN fitness, all lowercase, no spaces.com. Hope to see you soon there. Also, too, we've got an awesome email club that we have. If you want to get all kinds of free workout tips and some cool ideas sent to you through your email, on a regular basis, usually at least once a week, then feel free to go over there and sign up for our email club. So again, this will conclude episode number 2, and looking forward to continuing on with the podcast and seeing where things go. So hope to see you around the site very soon, and we will be back in just a week or two with another new episode of the Joshua Lappin Fitness Podcast.